Back to some professional StarCraft 2, the finals of the Big Gabe Weekly, aka occasionally called incorrectly the ESL Open Cup. A best of 5 here on the European server with these top European players. Will Big Gabe defend his namesake, or will Elazer lord it over him? Will he ever have something better than building too many overlords for people to remember him by? Maybe this is the start of that opportunity. We will see. But Big Gabe always... He has a... I don't know what the win rate is. But he seems to have won this tournament, of all tournaments, more than... I think he's won it more than anyone else. That kind of comes with it. But the fact that he's won like a third of them is a little ridiculous, or at least been in the finals. He may have played, or at least won the most. I just found like 8 ways to say the same thing without actually answering the question, so... I found almost as many ways to say that as Big Gabe has found to win the Big Gabe Weekly. There you go, number 9, come on down. And now the most important question of all, will the Reaper kill 1, 2, or no lings? And if he gets a drone, if you have something you're drinking right now, I don't care if it's alcoholic, non-alcoholic, bleach, whatever, finish it. We will see. Place your bets. The most important part. Oh, wings at the back. He's going for a drone, but is he Clem? He's looking. He's looking. The queen's not out yet. Oh, maybe. The answer is 0. 0. Nada. Zilch. Nothing. Not even. Oh, he's going for more. He tries to bounce the queen. The queen will not be bounced. Far too thick. I mean, sometimes you get in a weird angle, and the grenade doesn't actually... I don't know why. It just happens sometimes. It is how it is. Just puts her foot in the creep and decides not to move. And that's how all this walking bit... Why is there always a Reaper? Why can't they, like, build Hellions? Oh, don't worry. Oh, the creep is spreading. Heromarine goes by in the snipe! He gets the creep tumor! Which is more... That is not just mildly, but that is moderately annoying. As since you cannot cancel it once it started, you're at the whims of a very fanciful Reaper. Now, aside from that, there's essentially nothing else happening. And by nothing, I mean 3cc, but we're gonna see, well, what they call a macro game. And Heromarine, one of the best multitasking Terrans out there. And of course, to be a play at this level, your multitasking has to be top-notch. But he very much focuses... he reminds me a lot of Beyond, where he'll just take whatever units he has and start throwing them in different directions until something sticks. And he's even gone toe-to-toe with players like Cyril with that. He can compete, especially if he gets there. Elazer, on the other hand, I think of more as a mid-game, like a timing-oriented player. Not so much in the ultra-late game, though. He's definitely been there before, and he's not going to try to avoid it. It's just, if he finds his timing, it usually goes well for him. +1 carapace on the way. Hellions looking for an opportunity, but Brenda and her knitting crew, they've had enough. They lost a tumor. That is the only thing that's been lost in 5 minutes. And no more. Not even a Zergling. Not even the handful of Zerglings that are working on the rocks. Wait a second. Get those Zerglings out of the... Elazer, don't lose it. You're not allowed to lose it. Okay, we passed 5 minutes. Units are now allowed to die. Oh. But just creep tumors for now. Was there a scout on the Banshee? You may have just seen the Banshee go by. Or the Banshee could be used for high ground vision to kill Ovies. There's also that. A Zergling! First blood! Yeah, unless tumors bleed. Do tumors bleed? I don't really want to debate this mentally further. So you draw your own opinions. And we're moving on. Roachworn is on the way. I think that's partially... He's a little suspicious of mech. There hasn't been any confirmation it's not mech. Elazer didn't have Overlord speed. He didn't send anything in. He didn't find any information on that count. So for now, he just knows he's dealing with Hellions and Banshees, which could go a bunch of different directions. Almost every Terran build can work off of that. The Banshees find 2 kills, gonna try to keep the Queens distracted, but Elazer has a lot of creep and good Overlord placement. While Heromarine knocked out a couple on the other side. Banshees find 6 drones. Elazer just going roaches. Oh, taking the dark... You know what? I'm not surprised to see this. The dark school of weird and interesting Zerg plays, where instead of going the conventional wisdom, which is like mutiling, baneling nowadays, we're completely switching it up. We're back to the brick, roaches, and probably tunneling claws. Wait, was the burrow accidental? No, he starts burrow now. I think maybe he wanted something else. He's got +1 carapace, so Elazer is going for a ton. He's got 62 drones, and that's it. At least for now. He's going to make a whole bunch of roaches. There's no baneling speed on the way. There is a baneling nest, so we might go for that. But Elazer's essentially lining up an all-in. He doesn't... You don't want to go toe-to-toe economically with a Terran with this unit composition. You got to hit him hard. You got to hit him fast. And hopefully you don't have to hit him again, because that could go terribly. Heromarine jammed himself in, but that allows the Zerglings an opportunity. Doesn't matter, though. The reinforcements come back alongside the medevacs, and with 1-1 finishing, Heromarine, Big Gabe, should have the defenses he needs. Combat shield is only halfway done. 1-1 just completed. That's going to be a huge deal in this fight. 2-2 starts, holding his ground. Corrosive Bile knocks out 1 tank, but the Marines are still holding. The Hellions helping out a whole lot, and the Marines survive. The Banshees come back, and suddenly there's little to no anti-air. Where is the Overseer? Brenda! We were told we were support units! There's no support in this war. Everyone's called to fight. The drones are next on the chopping block if he can't stop Heromarine here and now. Combat shields is done, but 4 white units. Now, while Big Gabe was knocked down in army supply, still, the SCVs have been essentially untouched. Yeah, sure, you have an Overseer, but the Queens are dead. He's stimming, and he's winning. He's running right by everything, onto the creep. The Queens down to 1. More pulled off the line. The Roaches and Ravagers. Heromarine microing back. The Roaches and Ravagers all bruised, and Elazer can't stop building units, because the moment these units are allowed to build up in number, the moment Heromarine reaches a critical mass of tanks, of medevacs, or even just Marines, then Elazer loses. Right now, even if it's costly, he has to keep the gas pedal down. Pun slightly intended. The Queens continually being pulled. Taking a lot of damage here. The supplies are evening up, and that's not a good sign, because if Heromarine ever holds... Oh! Taking a few corrosive biles, but Ravagers now being targeted. He picks up, he backs off. The medevacs are actually out of energy. He has to build more just to heal his units. But Elazer is still even on workers. He's got 4 hatcheries, but he can barely use them. We're almost at the point, especially with +2 coming up. More Queens pull. Medevacs out of energy. Queens gunned down. Tank helping out. Triple corrosive bile knocks out the... Did he miss? He missed! And that means... Well, it was already trending that direction. Heromarine holds. A strong defense. Elazer kind of just deciding, I'm picking my timing and I'm going. Thank you for demonstrating my point, but it did not pan out. Heromarine holds. And Big Gabe now looking like the favorite in this ESL Open Cup Finals. It looked dangerous. I think slacking on like going for baneling speed. Like, hello. Thank you, Jimmy. You're still... No benefits either. Don't be ridiculous. No double dipping. You either get food or you get a check. You gotta work for both. Bootstraps. Anyways. I know. It's tough around here during the holidays and these economic times. We don't have mules to power us, and neither did Elazer. And that was the real struggle. 62 workers versus 62 workers is not even. That is not... It doesn't count the mules. The mule's worth 5 apiece, just about. Depends a tiny bit, but 5 on top of however many SCVs you have money. And usually Terrans have at least 1, sometimes 2 mules. So combining that with the fact that Heromarines are more cost-effective than the equal amount of Roaches and Ravagers, well, that is all the difference. Elazer had to stop him before he ever got enough Marines or enough medevacs to hold, because there was no way he was going to compete with him economically. And, like, I want to point out, in that last, not the last fight, but at the start of the last fight, with all the Lings coming in, with the Roaches and Ravagers behind, Heromarine stood his ground. He correctly realized that the corrosive biles were all being used on the tanks, and his Marines just stood there firing at maximum rate. No interruption, no nothing. And standing his ground in that first fight really cut down all the Lings, because Elazer didn't even throw... Corrosive bile, aside from killing static targets like tanks, is not so much for killing units like Marines. It's to force them to micro, because Heromarines not going to get hit by like 8 corrosive biles on his Marines, but he has to move, right? Like, he's got to move. And that is why the Ravagers make Roaches a little more of a threat. A lot more of a threat, really. Like, going mass Roach is so 2012. Calm down, Stefano. We've matured since then. Players have learned you can micro and macro at the same time, but it's still difficult. The drone is hiding from the Reaper, which comes in. Wait, get your bleach ready. I mean, there's some apple juice that I've been liking. There's a place. It's like craft apple juice, and by that I mean it says organic, which means I guess it costs more, and it's pretty good. Been drinking a lot of apple juice lately. Just fun fact there. You let it go long enough, it becomes even better. That's called science. That our ancestors learned and then stopped progress for many years. Did he get anything? Was there... Okay, nothing died. So we didn't miss out. Brenda! You're the one spot we don't have creep! Heromarine going for the same play. Elazer just holding on to the creep tumor. He's just not dealing with this right now. Okay, now he spreads it. Oh, but Heromarine comes back in! Oh, he's going for it! Will the grenade be enough damage? Oh, come on. He gets it! Oh! Real victories! What a player. The sniping the creep tumor. First blood. The tumor blood is bled. And, now Elazer will try to take revenge on Red. That mule is very dead. But here come the Hellions instead. And then the Lings, they fled. And the Hellions, well, then they said, I think we're safe. We can go across the map. But, unfortunately, the SCVs were now left to defend. And that's called a slant rhyme. Okay, that's when you just give up on trying to rhyme and you say it really quickly so people don't notice. Or you pronounce it with like an Irish accent or something, and then you're good. I'm not a rapper, though. So, an Overlord died to a Viking. And also 2 creep tumors now, so we're really racking up the damage. The knitting crew coming together. Ready for the rap battle versus the Hellions. And as you know, the Hellions spit hot fire, whereas the Queens are essentially royalty. Meanwhile, a lair has started. +1, the builds are shaping up almost identical. Is there There's the only difference for Heromarine is just a Viking straight into bio, as opposed to any Banshees. Whereas Elazer is going for the Carapace again, and it may be a little quicker fourth, but not. I don't think he'll go Roaches again. He doesn't have a Roach Warren, so that's like my first clue. Let's see if we can come up with some more. Nope, that works for me. That's enough. The Zergling counterattack, not really finding it. Burrow. Burrow again. He's loving the Burrow. I don't mind it. Like, remember that one time Scarlet made Burrowed Banes like 7 years ago? Yeah. Burrow could be much more. That's one of the few things that is still. Big Gabe caught. Wow. Okay. A surprising get there. All 4 Hellions. Not a huge deal, but I don't know what he was looking at, but he was obviously looking away. Burrow could be much more utilized. It's one of those things, if everybody had 1,000 APM, you would see a lot more of it. It's like a much more complicated blink for a lot of units. You can keep them alive, you can dodge shots. It's just a bit of a mess. And by a bit of a mess, I mean it takes too much APM. It's just too much. It's like going Mass Marine would technically just be the ideal unit composition if you had 2,400 APM. But I don't think Big Gabe, no matter how big his fingers are, they can only move so fast. At least that's what your mother said. So, at the end of the day, you do need other units that don't die to 2 Banelings. Baneling speed finishing. Drops headed out. The Banelings decide a supply depot's enough. A bit of an awkward counterattack there. Now we see. I'm gonna go to the Big Gabe cam, which is okay. All right, prepare yourself mentally and physically. Now, what I want to point out. Now we're using the Observer UI, but the bottom right, that's where you can see what he's selecting. Heromarine, one of the best players at also building units while all this is happening. I know it sounds like a lot, but it sounds very simple, but it's actually a hugely important skill. Looking for more. He finds the base, gonna drop behind the mineral line. Nice and smooth. That slipping a little on one of the drops on the opposite side. Dropping a few Marines, drags the Zerglings out of position. Another handful picks up in the main. Meanwhile, though, finding damage at the natural. See, no matter what, if you throw this much out there and you keep some tabs on it, you'll find damage. And while it's not critical, he hasn't killed a base or a ton of drones, it's something. It's definitely not as much as he would have liked, but he's not unhappy with it. Now we're lining up for another attack. +2 Carapace, significant advantage on the upgrades here for Elazer. He skipped the whole Roach phase. He's been sending in Lings and Banes towards the 3rd, not finding too much. 4 workers killed for each side so far. And now Heromarine's going to be pushing in with a mixed bag of factory units. And plenty of Marines. A lot of medevacs here as well. The Banelings coming through. There's not much for them to hit. The split is good. Another attack coming in on the right side. There are Zerglings, but no Banelings to force these Marines to pick up. We'll see. Heromarine microing back. +2 Carapace is done. Oh, a big Widowmine hit. Armory is done, which means he needs detection. That was a little optimistic on these Marines as he drops them into their death. A small counterattack is cleaned up. Only 2 SCVs go down, but while the Widowmines find big connections, okay, everyone's burrowed. The Banelings will burrow right next to the Widowmines, but they can't see each other because, you know, the ground is in the way. Heromarine forced to back off on the right side of scan spots. I'm pretty sure he had a Ling. Oh my god, that looks so weird. There was a Ling. Oh my. That was a visual bug, I think. Unless Big Gabe has a special way with his commands on. Brenda, we need overseers! Remember when we were never detectors, Brenda? Or was that Karen who spoke up? Oh my god. 20 SCVs. Banelings hit. Banelings hit. While we were hearing that dramatic discourse. Now, there's only queens here. They snipe off one medevac, but the banelings hit the third. And that brings Heromarine to 55 SCVs. That means he has to get damage done here. The Hydras come up. A few extra medevacs go down. Heromarine gonna swing to the left as well. Another round of banelings. Elazer, another... Well, he might go for the orbital. In fact, if he just... There's not... I don't know if that's enough, but it's damn close. Viking on the deck. Widowmines looking for an opportunity. Heromarine still standing his ground, but with the Hydras joining in, there's just too much. He finds damage on the right side. The army supply favors Heromarine. The income, not so much. Lurker Den is done. And seismic spines, lurker range on the way. Maybe the Baneling Mine will actually do something. Well, he's targeting... Oh! Those Widow Mines, a bit loud. Not Widow Mines, Banelings, rather. So many explosive underground units. Oh, come on. You see? Such value for the low price of 100-100. As much as a medevac, you can burrow pretty much all your units. Doesn't help lurkers. They should burrow deeper and require 2 forms of detection. You gotta scan twice, because you didn't pick them up on the first pass. That would be very broken. A couple Liberators show up to the party, but they realize that their friends left them out to dry, and now they're at this party alone. Which is kind of a dick move. But Widowmine drop finds 12 drones. The worker counts are somehow even. Heromarine finding a lot of damage. Widowmine doing... He actually... The orbital itself is under risk. Another round of Banes come through. Oh, come on, he did it. The thing that... Like, oh, please. One time. Oh, it happened! Elazer did it! He finally... it happened! It's happening! 15 SCVs, and that's a back-breaking number. That actually is a game-changing Baneling Mine right there. When Heromarine had finally dragged it back, and just as he stabilizes and deals with all that, the economy just swept low again. It's not a game ending, but it is game changing in that scenario. Planetary Fortress holding the fort. A very obvious and oh, come on, who burrows one Baneling? Elazer getting a little cute, and the reason Cyril has described why players don't use Baneling Mines, and he doesn't, is because it's too distracting. So if this game ends up going the other direction, Heromarine pumping out the SCVs, he's back about even on the workers and the income. But if this game ends up going the other... Oh my god. Both Widow Mines and getting too cute with Baneling Mines. But Cyril has said it's because it just takes too much attention away from other more important things. And while Elazer might have 500 APM, he doesn't have 1,000. And down goes a lurker, but down goes a whole lot of Marines. Splash damage doing a lot for both sides. As so much is going on, their attention is stretched so thinly. Oh, that orbital and all those SCVs not looking so good. The Marines getting eviscerated, and Elazer bringing things. He's equalizing the series. Baneling Mines actually did damage, and I think Elazer can now be crowned the most bestest and fan-favorite Zerg of the year. He made Baneling Mines work in a series and a game that mattered. And that's an achievement in and of itself. It is a best of 5, though. We give these players a couple chances to show their worth. Great series. I mean, it's Elazer. Heromarine and Elazer, but especially Heromarine. It's that desperation Terran. Like, every Terran has this feeling that they're running away from a hungry and rabid attack dog. And that's just them playing against any opponent. The players of other races don't usually play like that, but Terran players always seem to be one step away from getting their ankle bitten off by a rabid raccoon or something. And are very willing to tell you all about. Now that raccoon might be Storm, or it might be a particularly aggressive dingo called banelings, but either way, and Heromarine kind of embodies that for me. Like, he plays so well, but sometimes something happens and he spends the entire game recovering from it, and he almost does, or he does, and it's amazing, or he doesn't, and it's still super close because he's so good. It's just he's not perfect. So, at the end of the day, I think Elazer played really well. Like, Elazer cut out the roaches. He mixed in, sprinkled in baneling speed. We saw some burrow. The creep spread. Great, despite the efforts of the Reaper and Hellions and how dramatic those were. Like, no complaints about Elazer. My only complaint was going to be being too cute with baneling mines. But I was happily proven wrong. And in an exciting manner. So I want to see more of that from Elazer. We'll see. I feel like going 3cc every game, you gotta mix in. Heromarine will proxy Rex. He will do it. He'll put it out there. But it's definitely not as much as Maru, for example. And it's not necessarily going to be like a 3 or 4 Rex, which is more all-in, but a 2 Rex, which is almost a macro build in a lot of scenarios, because Zerg players don't usually die to it. It just kind of puts the Terran in a good spot to control the game. Okay, is it time? It's been 3 games. They're getting tired. Even though these players probably play at least 6 hours a day. Sometimes and many times more. Oh, a drone! Oh, he gets one! Alright! Jimmy, give me my Tide Pods! Yeah, a drone! And, of course, he builds 2 CCs behind it because he's like, you know what the problem was? Building a starport at all. Just any starport. Why would I build a starport when I could build more mules? And this is about as greedy as you can get. And he got a drone. So, the no second gas, no starport, well, at least 3rd CC before starport. This is, if somehow Elazer pulls off, like, if he hides roaches for any amount of time, then Heromarine can just die. The problem is, if you try to attack a 3cc Terran, and you don't almost, or just outright kill them, 3 mules is a lot of mules. It is you almost never have killed a 3cc Terran until they've tapped out of the game. This was more prominent in Wings of Liberty and Heart of the... I almost said Heroes of the Storm. Rest in peace. But it was much more prominent back when you didn't have so many workers to start the game. Nowadays, it seems like you get 50 workers as the game starts. Both these players are going to be at 50 probably around 5 minutes. I don't even care if the math checks out for Heromarine. It's close. But yeah, you just don't... Mules both counted for more. All macro mechanics, inject, chrono boost, and mules were reduced slightly in effectiveness with Legacy of the Void. Inject used to be 4 larvae. Mules used to be worth about 6 SCVs. And chrono boost used to be... I don't know exactly what the numbers on chrono boost are, but it was nerfed slightly. But now mules are about 5 SCVs. Inject larva only gives you 3. A lot of players... congratulations, Zerg players who actually play the game, who've been playing since, like, 2010. You now learned it was 3 and not 4. I will admit, it was like a year into Legacy of the Void before I realized that change went through, and it's always been like that. And I still sometimes think of it as 4 because of the first few years of SC2, getting that ingrained in my mind. It's still very important to be larva injecting. And you can, of course, queue them up with that extra energy as well. So... But it looks like we're going to have another gentleman's agreement to essentially only kill anything on the edges. There's been 4 lings, a drone, bravely killed by that Reaper, and a tumor. And that's it. The Spire starts, he sees a lair, he sees more gas on the way, but Heromarine, he might smell the mutas, but he does not see them. At least not yet. From here, like, even, how do you change your build if you know it's mutas? You add, like, 1 turret in. That's it. But what Heromarine's doing, there's nothing to change if he goes mutas. Like, there's nothing he can do on seeing the Spire besides focus on getting those Marines out in a timely manner. So, that is essentially a macro Spire. I say that, it sounds a little dumb, but I have so many drones. The mutas are part of my unit composition, not a surprise mutas build. And of course, Heromarine sees the Spire. But the best defense against mutas is and always has been a good offense. If you can keep the mutas from coming across the map and creating issues in the workplace that you've had to deal with for many years, and like really we thought we were over that, but workplace harassment in StarCraft is still a big issue. In fact, with Legacy of the Void, it is more significant than ever before. Speaking of, here come the Hellions. 8 mutas on the way. 1-1 coming up. Combat Shield, I think Heromarine's going to be moving out right as soon as those medevacs are completed. But for now, the Hellions looking at what they can find without risking their own lives, because having potentially Hellbats, though I don't see an armory, which should be starting. Do you agree, Heromarine? An armory right here would be beautiful, would be exciting, and would be necessary. Come on, Big Gabe. The mutas are on the way out. Already 1 turret. 12 Marines. Oh, is he all-inning? Heromarine is doing like an Octo-Rex, by the way. That's the correct term. The Octo-Rex play. Without even reactors, he just slapped on. This is the change he made because he found out he was going against muta. Instead of like playing for the later game, he's pumping out as many Marines as he can right now, looking to reach a critical mass before Elazer can deal with it. There's still a Banshee in the main. Plenty of drones for Elazer for now, but is he ready for this attack? How many Banelings? 11. Is speed done for those Banes? Oh my god, he doesn't even have 1-1. It just started. Armory is building, but can the Banelings close the distance? A single tank on the low ground here. The mutas are heading back home. Brenda and her knitting crew have to hold it together. They got a lot of energy. A few mutas actually getting a little lucky and cutting off. The medevacs find 1, and Elazer realizes the mutas will finally kill the Banshee. Heromarine kind of stuck in between the bases here. He's still going to have a big upgrade advantage. I didn't realize how late those upgrades were for Elazer. That is significant. The fact that even though the armory's a little delayed... Oh, the Brenda! Why are you on your own? There's barely any creep! The Queen's dying is better than the base, but not by much. Here come the mutas. There's just so many Marines! Heromarine banked on getting a critical mass of bio underneath, and it looks like that investment is about to pay off. Heromarine up 30 supply. The Marines stimming through and tearing up the Queens and mutas. GG. Heromarine takes it to 2-1. Match point. It paid up. So, I was proven wrong again. It's almost like these guys are better than me. But, Heromarine... I'm sorry, I have to go to Starcraft jail because I was backseating players who have almost double my MMR, despite me being pretty high up there. Okay, not double, but still. But that was the change. I don't think Heromarine goes for that 8 racks that early against someone who's either going Hydras or maybe just getting their upgrades quicker. But he saw the Spire. It was like halfway done. He had just enough time to react. And he decided on the Octo racks, which I could just say additional racks. I could say more racks. I could say 8 racks. But Octo racks sounds objectively way cooler. So I will continue doing that whenever necessary and whenever possible. With that, Jimmy, come on, game 4. There are no breaks on this crazy train. Even if you spend the few seconds from this moment forward liking and subscribing because of this amazing thumbnail, How open is my mouse supposed to? There we go. We got it. Okay. And clip it out, and then an arrow. Or 2 arrows. How many does Loco use? Okay, just write that down. Anyways, sorry. It looks like no proxy racks. How many drones will the Reaper kill? Oh yeah, we gotta do the BANELING mine. Oh, of course. Though if my instincts are correct, people will be like, Loco already casted this with the same title. And he was the very first one, and no one else did. And the answer is, you know what? Hopefully the algorithm gets to you first. BANELING mines in 2020? Maybe we can get like a Ghost of Scarlet in there as well. We can just throw that in, even though Scarlet has nothing at all to do with this series. An SCV Scout. I do like that Terran's, like Heromarine, I think, has consistently SCV Scouted. But I've never felt there historically has been a lot of Terrans. It seems to just kind of shift in and out of the meta. Or it's random. I don't know. Where they just don't SCV Scout. They don't scout till the Reaper. And is getting 1 extra SCV mining for 1 more minute worth the like 20% of the time where you die because your Reaper doesn't see an all incoming? Okay, like 15 maybe. Or like a pool first. Apparently many top Terrans seem to think so. But it just doesn't seem to have the return that just checking if they had a hatchery would. Oh, the creep tumor on the high ground. But the queen drives the Reaper low. And there will be no tumor sniping on this day. Unless you can... Wow, like, what is this? You can't just roach all in him. Elazer! He doesn't know this. They're both decided we're gonna play the same game, like, 5 times. If Elazer... Now, game 1, okay, was a little different for both sides. But the last 3 games have been essentially the same. 3 CC early versus 3 hatch, with neither player really worrying about killing their opponent's units for like 6 minutes. Does Heromarine... Can I get some Big Gabe Big Mac? Or... Mech has kind of dropped off. I think because players are having so much success with Bio. To be honest, it's one of the best times for Terran. Since the Whittle Mine was reverted to some of its original strength with being cloaked after an armory still and requiring detection. And some pretty favorable map pools towards Terran. And just like a favorable map pool for Terran is the shorter the rush distances, the better. And the easier it is to defend 3 bases without worrying too much about counterattacks, the better. So maps like Submarine, honestly Lightshade, to an extent, they're maps that are like Zerg players just veto against Terran. Jagannatha is a bit of a return on that. Like Terran does not want to play the late game on a map of that significant length. Just simply because of how long it takes units to get across the map. The Queens will strongly discourage the Hellions from any further activities quite that close to the base. As is their purpose and their right and their duty and their honor and their privilege, and whatever else would go with the motivational speech by a generic military commander in a movie that probably stars Tom Cruise or Jason Statham. Probably not Jason Statham. That's a roach one. That's what a roach one looks like. Now, which direction is this? Is this I'm going roaches or I have a roach warrant, which are two very different things. Liberation is at hand. Liberator slip. I'm surprised. Oh, the Viking cleared the path. What am I saying? Of course. The Viking cleared the Overlord vision, so that way the Liberator had a good opportunity. Here come the Hellions. There are the Banelings. Not that many Banelings, but enough Lings and the Queens. Suddenly, get off our creep! I'm sorry, I blacked out for a second. Oh, the Hellions are gone. That was an uncharacteristically bold move for Heromarine. And yeah, like, Elazer is not all in, but now that the Hellions are dead, he can kind of just go roach. He has not shown, a roach warren has been spotted, but that doesn't mean he's going roaches. And Heromarine's not building any tanks. He doesn't even have medevacs. Like, honestly, these Zerglings are scary. If there was like 3 Banelings here instead of just 1, then maybe this would be real damage. But hello! Hello, roaches! Tank gets a hit. A laser. He wasn't even looking at it as he shot at it. What a pro. The roaches just show up, getting some damage done. Heromarine forced to evacuate his base. And this is already significantly better. Now, this is an awkward exchange, but significantly better than in Game 1 with the Roach Ravager. Like, he's done economic damage, and he's done damage to he's whittled down the armory. You gotta get either a lot of one or some of both. Because if you whittle down the army, but they still have an economy, eventually they'll rebuild it, and it's gonna be harder and harder to be cost effective. If you get the economy but not the army, you're left risking a counterattack from ridiculously cost-effective units that you don't have a critical mass to defend. So, getting some tanks, some Marines, and also some SCVs, with Elazer still maintaining everything at home, looking good. He still has to figure out what to do next. He's got to figure out how he actually kills Heromarine. But that's a good step forward. Now, the supply definitely... If you look at the supply right now, it definitely reflects it. A Roach Ravager isn't as cost-effective, but it's not 50 supply less cost-effective. The army supply is now 101 to 73. Heromarine flies directly and confidently into a corrosive bio with 1 medevac. Okay, here's some links from the back. That's an important part, but he didn't get the final shot on the tank. Heromarine Marines have to be heroic, and they are standing their ground, holding. That tank living for an extra round was a huge, huge deal. Look at the supply. The gap is entirely closed in Heromarine. His units, his namesake, his destiny. The Marines hold. You need to... That is a huge mistake. Elazer... It's even with that much extra supply against the upgraded Marines in a defensive position, he needed that tank to die. Just a few extra shots was more than enough to tilt the scales. It's still, like, Heromarine hasn't won this yet. But that was a good start, and this is a good follow-up. Suddenly, in come the Banelings, doing what the Roaches and Ravagers could not. The Distractics on the other side. The Zergling counterattack, making Heromarine look away for long enough for the Marines to live the rest of their lives in peace and harmony, and then acid death. Perfect timing from Elazer, turning things around, and also look at the... Well, we all looked away, and that includes Heromarine. The Zerglings went out, the Banelings came back. You can't explain that. 44 SCVs left on the deck. The army supply heavily in favor, but Heromarine now has to get damage done. He's lost too many SCVs. He's going to try to recover, but he needs to get a base or 2 with it. It's all turned around with just a couple dozen Banelings. A fungal in the mix. The upgrades are 1-2 against 1-1, so actually an advantage for Elazer. He's followed up the Roach Ravager, not with more mediocre Roach Ravager, but fully capable and upgraded Banelings. A mule drops, punctuating the Banelings as they roll in. Not going to find much, but keeping Heromarine busy. And suddenly, there are almost no Marines on the other side of the map. The knitting crew comes through, still intact from the earlier parts of the match. And suddenly, Elazer takes the supply lead, the worker lead. His upgrades are a little confusing. Here comes another round. Oh, my God. He's been zoned out of mining here for so long. Come back. Do it again. Do it again. He looks the other way. It's just Marines. And this time, 2-2 might be done. There's simply not enough Marines. GG. Elazer ties it up. He brings it all together. Elazer playing a much more fleshed out version of that Roach Ravager opener than he did in Game 1. And Heromarine just not keeping up. A valiant stand. A valiant attempt. But Elazer smoothly sidestepped into Lingbane. And so did Heromarine. And that was the issue. I don't think he was expecting the Banelings. Like, you just kind of get trained that suddenly it's going to be, well, okay, it's going to be Roaches and Ravagers. I'm ready for that. Boom, Banelings. And Baneling should never be a surprise. No matter who's involved. It's not a surprise anyone wants. All right, well. Oh, we're on match point. The match point of match points. What? Okay. But since we're professionals, obviously, we're going to have a quick advertisement. Shout out our sponsors. Thank you guys for watching. Hey everybody, I'm Winter, and did you know if you don't like and subscribe, you're killing StarCraft? All those people in Twitch chat and YouTube comments were correct. If you don't smash that like button, then the algorithm will not know, they will not... Okay, Google, subscribe to WinterStarcraft. Siri, Winter Gaming on Twitch, subscribe. And so much, and all the other exciting... But I'm on Linux. Okay, whatever. Thank you. Thank you guys for sticking around. I know ads are loud and annoying and unskippable, but I mean, we gotta have them nowadays. I'm supposed to cast. Is nobody proxying? If we see 3CC against Quick 3 Hatch again, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to comment on how we've seen this before, probably. But, like, so far it does kind of seem... If Elazer is able to catch Heromarine off guard, then Elazer wins. Heromarine, if he's allowed to live for long enough, will win. So... the winner of the Big Gabe Weekly will either continue to be the man himself, or if Elazer can catch him out on the field again, then maybe he can swipe another title from him. Yeah, I see. Standard builds are standard. Yes, for a reason, but like standard builds are standard because they're what you fall back to. They're not the only bit. They're not the build. I mean, maybe at some point we'll get to almost Brood War levels of like, this is how the first 7 minutes work. And if you deviate even one SCV staring off into the distance for 13 seconds, well then you should probably just leave the game. I don't think that's where we are yet, but we will see. As StarCraft 2 gets more and more figured out. I don't think it'll ever be as mapped out as Brood War, because it's too fast and the mechanics are too smooth, and that's already a thing. Like in Brood War you'll see Flash will even have idle SCVs because we didn't have the technology to both create something and tell it what to do. Okay, you got to find that out for yourself, my SCV friends. Whereas in StarCraft 2, the mechanical ceiling, or near ceiling, literally the APM required to manage your economy, is significantly lower. I'd probably put SC2 with a near perfect economy around 100 to 150 actions a minute. Whereas in Brood War, it's probably 200 or 300, depending on exactly what you're doing and when. But so that leaves a lot of space for, microing and tactics outside of just building workers. Oh, come on. I want him to die to a roach on it. One time. Branda! I know it's a big risk. And Elazer, I don't think should feel pressure. I don't think Elazer is... I think I give, partially because this is the Big Gabe Weekly, I give Big Gabe a 10% edge in this matchup. Now, in arm wrestling, I mean, not even close. Let's not break Elazer as a person, mentally and physically. Yes, but in StarCraft, Heromarine with a slight edge. Especially the way he plays Terran versus Zerg and the way it's played out right now. But not so much I gotta do a roach all-in. I know I just described these games as Elazer getting the jump on Heromarine, but it definitely hasn't just been Heromarine making one mistake. Elazer's making great moves. His counterattacks are relentless. Those banelings just keep rolling. It's like a bingo cage of banelings. I know what the bingo thing is called. It's a bingo cage. It's where they have the bingo balls, and they roll it, and out comes, except every time, it's BANELING. So mark that one down. And then the next one's also going to be a BANELING. And this joke is about as far as, oh wait, new one. It's also a BANELING. Who would have thought? I like how diligent Elazer is about taking down the rocks. Not many players will. A lot of players will take down the unbuildable plates. Some players might also ask why these unbuildable plates are here, but a lot of players will take those down pretty quick. It's just part of the game. I see Diamond players do it and then screw it up, and then Hellions run by as they're trying to take down the plates, and I laugh at them. But they're there essentially because back in the day, Protoss and to an extent Terrans were haha, Zerg, good luck dealing with 3 pylons or 2 bunkers at the bottom of your ramp. And what we figured out was that was actually bullshit. And so every map has these plates, which you can remove, but only once you have more than, a couple units. Because it's almost impossible to cost-efficiently break 3 pylons at the bottom of your ramp. Those were the days, though, my cannon-rushing friends. Those were the days of Zerg players just kind of giving up on ever-expanding. But if you go back and watch GSL in 2011, you might be surprised at the knowledge we have gained since then. A Banshee, no cloak, just for high ground vision, and the threat of cloak is most of the damage cloak does. Just the Banshee existing. Elazer very efficient with his creep. It's kind of a reflex you get as a Zerg player, and I'm 1/3 Zerg myself. Genetically, of course. Where you kind of look at the creep and you see one when you're ready to spread it. Always important to know when to spread it. You kind of get out of the corner of the eye, you see the tumor doesn't have a tumor near the edge of the creep, and I'm spending a lot of time describing you just kind of see it on the minimap. Your eyes get trained for it. It's how it is. Elazer doing a great job of that. Elazer, and it's a skill. It's an art. It's an art skill, but also a practical skill. But art is practical. Like and subscribe. Stop zooming out so much. Oh my god. This isn't like a Transformers movie. Okay. Oh, Marines. Stimming. Attacking. Oh, here we go. Spawning pool. Under attack. Banelings. Spawning pool. He did kill the spawning pool, which is pretty annoying. I apologize for all of that. Baneling speed not done, and until it's done, Baneling speed also gives 5 extra HP, because otherwise how could they survive rolling so much? There's a lot of wear and tear that happens. So it's not only just the fact they close the distance, but they survive longer to be able to not survive any longer, is an important point. Heromarine demonstrating why Zerg players don't take this as their third, by the way, just a fun fact. Because suddenly this attack threatens 2 bases, including the main, instead of just the one. Of course he expanded here, but Elazer, this was a decoy. This was his punching bag expo. Because he knew it was unlikely he was going to keep both alive. So he hedged his bets by expanding to the other side. 54 Zerglings on the way. We're only 8 minutes in, but both players nearing a max out. Not quite there, and we might see... Oh, Heromarine just going to keep attacking. But the Baneling counter. Oh, what a wall! The great wall of Big Gabe. But he rolls right through. Given some time, but still 2 Banelings. A major threat. Heromarine. Oh, no! No more Medivacs! The Queens themselves holding the main. Just taking down multiple Medivacs with Marines. I think the Marines died to the Banelings. This is a disgusting choke point. And now we see why Heromarine chose this. Meanwhile, he's tearing through the drones. Burrow, I have scan. It's like map hacks at the push of a button. 17 drones died. And wow, Elazer might have been able to clean up a little in the main. He might have been able to deal out a little at the third. Heromarine just eviscerated his economy. He brutalized his Lings and Banes, and he obliterated his hope. Because right now, Heromarine is up 30 supply against someone who's on Ling Bane. He's got as many workers as someone who's reliant on his larva in order to maintain his position. And right now, Big Gabe is looking like the big favorite to take this tournament. God, that tank positioning was and I cannot stress this enough, disgusting. He's in the main. There's an infestation pit, there's a lurker den, and it looks like both of them are threatened. He built all his tech in his main. He started the hive just in time. Elazer has to build his 3rd spawning pool. His 3rd spawning pool in 10 minutes, I might add. And this is not a no-regret series. This is an actual tournament. Okay, that was extra mean. No Regret is a perfectly capable player. And I'm excited to see what his last 10 minutes look like. Meanwhile, Heromarine with a bare-bones army, but the reinforcements are where the real power is. The Queens have served dutifully, but now most of them taken out, and with it, most of the anti-air potential. 19 Hydras in production. The double drop still looking for an opportunity, and it will find one. Elazer has held on to his hatcheries. He's struggled on his tech. His upgrades aren't incredible. Heromarine, well, isn't like super great himself. 19 Hydras. That is a lot. He wasn't able to get many before. The Lurker Den is done. It's just, he's struggling to actually build Lurkers. Just a handful of Marines holding their ground. Elazer barely holding. He has the creep. There's not that many Banelings, or not many Banelings. There's not that many Marines and Medivacs left over, but Heromarine isn't stopping. He's not slowing down. He's speeding up. He's got more production. He's got more economy. He's got more cost-effective units. Tanks, Widow Mines, more Medivacs coming up. The Lurkers are building. Seismic Spines is not done. +1 attack is not done. And the Lurkers might be able to hold this ground for now, but they're going to have to move to a new location. And every time they do that, makes it a little bit harder. He's trying to micro against the Lurkers. He's getting it. You want to whittle down the Lurker count. Oh my god, look at the supply. For everything he's losing at the front, he built 2 of it back home already. A Baneling counterattack. Now this might come as a shock, but Banelings always get 1 kill. Unfortunately, it's not always the enemy. Down 60 supply. Heromarine. A dominant display. the bigliest Gabe, bringing home potentially another one of the tournament named after him. And there's a reason why. He made it interesting. He made it fun. He made it exciting. But at the end of the day, he makes the most of it. He'll be taking home those few $100, those ESL points, and that trophy. Metaphorically, I don't think they give out a trophy. They give a virtual trophy. You get like a trophy banner, and you get it. But he wins. Wow. He took the mask off, and it was just a larger version of the same person. An even bigger game. For even bigger plays. I hope you enjoyed that exciting display. Great series of the same build with some slight different variations. Essentially the same build 5 games in a row between those two top Europeans. Thank you, ESL, for sending it out and letting arguably called casters such as myself. If you enjoyed the commentary, like and subscribe and check out these amazing videos and all the love in the Twitch chat. What do you think? How does Elazer, how do you stop him? What did he do wrong? What did he do right? Who am I talking about? It could be anyone. Leave a comment. Like, subscribe. Thank you. Good luck. And have